Education Secretary Betsy DeVos could possibly land herself in prison because of her contempt and violation of a 2018 court order regarding student loans. So this was a ruling that was handed down back in June of 2018. It was made by US Magistrate Judge Sally Kim and prevented DeVos and her Department of Education for going after former students at the bankrupt Corinthian Colleges, Inc. Now, if you guys can recall, several years ago, back in 2015, when Obama was still president, there was a federal investigation into this for-profit college that, I mean, it's a company, corporation that has an umbrella or is an umbrella of a bunch of different for-profit colleges. And what that investigation found was that they were committing widespread fraud and abuse of these students. And so after this investigation, Corinthian colleges filed for bankruptcy, and the federal government essentially said that the students could get their debt canceled, forgiven, because of the fact that they were defrauded by this institution. Now, Betsy DeVos comes in as the Secretary of Education, and she decides, nah, I'm not gonna cancel these debts, even though she was supposed to. So the judge in this case said that she was astounded to discover that DeVos was violating the court order at a hearing in San Francisco after a filing by the Education Department earlier disclosed that more than 16,000 former students at Corinthian College were incorrectly informed at one time or another that they had payments due on their federal student loans. At least 1,800 people reportedly lost wages or tax refunds, according to the filing. The judge was quoted as saying, "I'm not sure if this is contempt or sanctions. I'm not sending anyone to jail yet, but it's good to know I have the ability."
Wow, okay, that's a shot across the bow of her yacht.
One other thing to keep in mind, DeVos is friends with a lot of the executives and CEOs who have either run or are currently running for-profit colleges. In fact, as soon as she was brought in as education secretary, she gave her for-profit college buddies favors by allowing them to work in the federal government, in her department. Now, I bring that up because, according to Newsweek, DeVos made numerous attempts to limit the scope of the debt cancellation program, in addition to effectively ignoring roughly 160,000 applications made for loan forgiveness.
Okay, so there's two parts of the story. The first is lock her up, lock her up. Okay.
I think so.
So let me explain. Locking up your political opponents is a very dangerous thing. To do that for no reason is a threat to democracy and a disaster. So if you said randomly, let's lock up Ben Carson, based on what? Now, I can't stand Ben Carson, and I got Ben Carson and Betsy DeVos in a tie for most loathsome with a lot of people in the Trump cabinet, but there's no charges against Ben Carson. Like, so for example, he did the too much expenditures on the table and the curtains, et cetera, in the housing and urban development, but that's not a violation of the law. So when Trump says randomly, Adam Schiff said something I didn't like, that's treason, let's lock him up. That doesn't make any sense. Saying something that you don't like, or even if it was true that it was a lie, is not a crime, okay? If that was a crime, we would have locked Trump up 12,000 times, right? Let alone a crime for treason. But there are laws in this country, and if you're in contempt of court, you would definitely go to prison.
Yes.
So the most common court order that we all know from popular lore is a restraining order, for example, right? If the court says you're not allowed to see, name it, ex-husband, ex-wife, whatever it might be, you're not allowed to see that person, there's a restraining order. And you go violate that restraining order, you will be locked up. It is a certainty, okay? But they'll at least play by different rules. So Betsy DeVos is like, oh, you gave me a court order to not screw over 160,000 students and ruin their lives? I don't care, my friends are making money off of screwing their lives, so I'm not gonna follow your court order. If she was not in the elites, she would immediately be locked up. Instead, the judge is implying a threat of, hey, I could go in that direction, but I know how this system works. She'll threaten her 4 more times before that there would actually be any actions. And I actually think she should get multiple warnings just because, look, I don't want cabinet members getting locked up left and right. It's destabilizing for our democracy. So, and you might even disagree with that. But after the second warning, they gotta take action. Otherwise, we don't have law in this country, right? And they should say, look, I'm not kidding. I gave you an order. It's a court order. You must follow it. If you don't follow it, yes, you will have massive fines. And I know that doesn't bother you because you have 10 different yachts. I know you're a billionaire and your husband's a billionaire and everybody in your family is a billionaire. So the only way to get you to comply is to put you in prison. And I'll treat you like a regular American citizen.
Yeah, do it. And I agree with you on all counts with one small exception. No chances. I think that people who serve in the White House, in this administration, in any administration, should actually be held to a higher standard, right? Because they are the ones who are supposed to be serving as an example to everyone else. So if they're able to just break the law with no consequences, no chances. You broke the law, you're held in contempt. So there needs to be consequences immediately. Now, I don't know whether or not the consequence should immediately be prison, right? But maybe it is fines, maybe sanctions, whatever. Second time you do it, you gotta go. You're behind bars.
No, I agree on one thing. I wanna be clear. There should be sanctions immediately. There should be fines immediately, but it's not gonna bother her. And remember, her friends that run the private colleges are making more money than it would cost her. And it's not even gonna cost her, it's likely gonna cost us, the taxpayers. The government will likely be sanctioned. So we gotta get to real penalties as soon as we can. But I wanna touch on the substance of this as well. And I don't have to spend a long time on it because all of you will get it. Jesus Christ, man. There's a law and a court order saying stop screwing over the students. Stop it. And they won't follow the order. They're like, no, we're gonna tell them they owe money when they don't owe money. We're gonna lie to them. We're gonna steal their money after they already got rooked by these colleges and they wasted all that time, years of their life. They already went through all the stress. They already paid them a lot of money to begin with. Remember, this is in the middle, not at the beginning for most of those students. And look at the monster that DeVos is. Well, I have all this money and I have more money than God, but I'm gonna crush you and I'm gonna do it in an illegal way and in a way where I take money I don't have a right to and distribute it to my equally rich friends. That's the monsters that the Republicans are. It's not just Donald Trump. All the Republicans are in this direction. Oh, private donors, rich people will give you everything. If you're in the middle class or you're not in the top 1%, you're nuts for voting for Republicans. All they do is screw you over and steal your money.
Get the bums out, as Cenk said yesterday.
Yeah, indeed.
Yes.
Throw the bums out. They'll be fine. They'll land in their yacht. Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.